Today, we're going to be discussing how your character is going to be taking a real long nap during a respite. Respites are essentially draw steal's answer to long rests in D20 Fantasy, but unlike there, where you're resting for like 7 to 8 hours, a respite is a full 24-hour break from adventuring. You're not just sleeping. There's tons of downtime activities that you'll also do during a respite. Respite is not just a need for your character. It's something that you're going to want to do because it's going to allow you to do a lot of more passive activities like fishing or crafting, as well as regaining some of your most important stats. So, how does it work? For starters, a respite is a full 24-hour rest. It cannot be interrupted. If you get attacked during a respite, you do not gain the benefits of a respite. What are those benefits? Well, for starters, a respite is where you're going to gain your experience if you're using EXP in order to level up. You convert all of the victories that you've earned during your adventure into experience at this time, meaning you also lose your victories. That happens whether or not you're using XP or milestone. During a respite, you always reset your victories. It's essentially resetting your adventure back to base so you can get ready for your next quest. Besides losing your victories, you also regain all of your recoveries, meaning you can go back to regaining your stamina during combat. If you want more info on how stamina and victories work, check out our stats video for that. You can also make more minor loadout changes to your character, like changing out your kit if you are playing a martial class. But the big thing you're going to be doing during a respite is your downtime activities. Downtime activities are primarily projects that your character works on. There are a huge variety of projects listed in the book, and the Dungeon Master, or the Director, can create projects of their own to fill the character's time and help them on their quest. Projects are long-term. You're going to need multiple respites in order to do them, but the rewards are very much worth it. But before you do a project, you need two things. First, the project source. Project sources are obscure pieces of lore or even common research documents found in libraries, depending on the project you want to work on. This will be rewarded by your director for killing a difficult boss, or by engaging in roleplay with a librarian NPC or a researcher. There are a variety of ways to get sources, and it's up to your director, but the point is, you need a source in order to start your project, but you also need the resources required. It could be anything from a bunch of rocks and a worker's permit in order to pave a new road for the local town, or it could be something as important as the inner crystal of an air elemental that fuels the engine of your new airship. These resources are not really important on their own, but they are needed if you want to complete your big ol' project. Now, in order to actually do a project during a respite, all you need to do is roll a power roll. 2d10, and add whatever characteristic the project requires. It could be might, agility, intuition. It always gives you a variety of options so that every character can likely engage in every project. You roll 2d10, add the characteristic, and then write that number down next to the project name. That is the amount of points that you have accumulated towards that project. Once your amount of project points equals the total threshold required, you've completed the project and now can claim your reward. Yay! The only thing is that if you're rolling 2d10, just adding a characteristic and a skill, then you're probably rolling, 15, 16 at the max? Most projects have a goal of like 150, 200 points. I mean, that means you're going to be taking a lot of respites, but thankfully there are many ways you can speed up your progress. For starters, you don't need to work on a project alone. Your other PCs can join you. If you all have one shared project, you can all work on it together to exponentially increase the rate at which you complete your projects. You can also get a little minor bonus with your skills. Like, for example, if your project is tailoring a new magic quote and you have the tailoring skill, that little extra +2 is going to make huge bonuses once it starts adding up. Doesn't seem like a lot, but hey, it all matters. And then finally, you have breakthroughs. If you roll a 19 or a 20, basically like the best dice roll you can get on 2d10, then that means you have a breakthrough. You have done an amazing thing for your project, and now you get to roll again on the same respite. This exponentially increases the rate at which you get projects done. So if you get lucky, you can really make some good progress. Like maybe you find an obscure research document within the bowels of a forgotten archive that give you secrets required in order to finish your teleportation circle, allowing you to add an extra plus 100 project points to your total. This can encourage players to go off the beaten path to search for extra loot, and as well as giving DMs another reward they can give the players to spice up the loot pool a bit. Projects are a really cool long-term goal, but keep in mind that if you want to speed things up, there's nothing stopping you from taking multiple respites in a row in order to get the project done. Though be aware, if you're trying to rush a project, a DM might throw at you some project events. This can range from a rival researcher coming by to give you some crap all the way to a freaking dragon stopping by to steal your project, which, yeah, it definitely changes the dynamic, doesn't it? Projects don't just give rewards, they can be entire quest hooks on their own. There are 3 types of projects that you're going to be doing during your downtime. The first is your crafting project. This is going to be what I think most players will interact with. You can craft basically anything in the player's handbook. Every magic item is craftable in some way, shape, or form, as long as you have the project source, as well as the materials to create the project. You can also enhance your magic items with a crafting project and build entire campaign events, like teleportation circles or airships. It's not just little magic items, it's the big stuff too. Though, of course, if you want to work on those bigger projects, those are going to take a heck of a long time for you to complete. Besides that, you also have your research projects, researching obscure pieces of lore to figure out more information on your big bad, or even going undercover in the big bad's organization to directly spy on their affairs. All of that falls into your research project. And then finally, you have other miscellaneous projects. These are not as cool, but I'm gonna be honest, this might be the most popular project category with my players because fishing falls under miscellaneous projects. Yes, there's a whole fishing mini game in Draw Steel here. I think my guy friends just can't resist a good spot by the lake. But yeah, there you go. That's how you do a Respite and a Downtime project in Draw Steel. There's a lot of fighting in this game, but before you get to drawing your weapons, you may want to prepare and make sure you're adequately equipped for the task at hand. But as long as you do that, I don't see a problem with you getting out there and drawing steel.